In this video, I'll be diving into the two most popular ways that people consume content, that being books and videos. But before I dive into that though, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to this channel and share with your friends if you got anything useful from this and you'd want them to also gain insight from this. Now that all of that has been over, let's get back into the videos. So we have books and we have videos, but before all of this, let's say humans were living in tribes where you'd want lessons to be passed down or entertainment, whatever, just communication. You'd want that to be passed down, but then you don't want them to be forgotten. After, you want something that lives longer and that you can store, that people can read over and over. So it's not just based on one person telling the story or acting out the play or whatever that thing is. Now you have a piece or thing that people can just go to and just perhaps read or watch or play without the person who's a professional in that job having to do it. So that you could say is the aspect of why books and videos are there. Now, books, in a sense, or written material is longer than videos, given that videos have risen through the technology that has been built from the TV to now the internet and YouTube, making it as big as it is, with me now also talking on the platform through a video. Between books and videos, I'll get into the book part of it first because it's the one with the longest history, and besides it being the longest history, it's one that even after videos have popped up, it still consistently is the one that people would go to, even with the advent of how videos are much easier to watch, more entertaining, less thought required, and everything. So even with this new technology that's been possessed, books still are what I'd call a staple in many people's lives. So now to books. Books are split into different categories. So in books you have fiction and then you have non-fiction. What I consider the fiction part is the something that tells a story or portrays a story in the way that it's built, as opposed to just a distillment of lessons. You also have, say, autobiographies, where now it's just telling of one person's life. Whereas in fiction, I'd say we have a lot more world building, where now you're understanding a person's world view, in a sense, and who the character is, taking you through the character's experiences and lives, maybe even different character views, character experiences in a POV, point of view type of story, taking from this person's point of view to a different person's point of view, and just mixing that to story to carry the story along. In a biography and autobiography, is written of a person's life, how their life experience, but then in a sense, they aren't necessarily the protagonist of their own story, even the way they are in a non-fiction type, with a lot more things happening around in their world, but that, or someone narrating over that life. It's more, now, this is what I did in this time of my life. I was experiencing this. This happened, that happened. I was going through this is what I was thinking. That type of thing, where there isn't as much, I'd say, storiness to it, or world building to it. It's just a person telling their own personal experiences step by step and how things led to each other. You also maybe have textbooks. It's just content in written format that's being taught to a class, whatever course or thing a person is doing or that content is made for. That would be textbook wise, and then you'd have a history retelling. So this is what happened in history, and a lot more other parts. But the main part I'd say people consume would be for fiction and non-fiction. That would be what I would say people go into books for. And in that category, on the fiction side, telling a story, and most often the stories are better told than they are in the movies, because there are a lot more details in the story that movies most often miss out. And that book format is also written in such a way that you visualize the way the person looks, how the world is, what the world view is like, etc., from the things that you read in the book. So that in and of itself, it's a more personal journey than it would be in a video or a movie, since you're looking at that and you're watching it. It is a skill that you need to build up, because that mental muscle has not been exercised as much. So some parts you do get, some parts you just miss the whole story completely until you get to a part that you actually understand. Then you're able to visualize, so now you have a gap in between. And mainly in action parts, maybe like you're reading some part, then you skip the whole action part because your mind wasn't gelling properly or actually understanding the scene, and then you skip to the new part, and then there's just that mix, and you're like, wait, when does this character get here? Because they were there, and then now they're here. Something big happened, and you missed that part. So that's a disadvantage if you're still new to reading. While then on the nonfiction side, was given the self-help and nonfiction self-help philosophy, which is what I've been reading, type of books, they're much more easier in a sense to just copy and paste and refer to, because a lot more written down, not much more easier to refer to, because a lot they are written down, so you don't have to keep it in your mind or remember something. Just and it's much easier to check. You don't need, say, Wi-Fi connected. You don't need a phone. You don't need anything. Just need a paper where you've written it down. You just go to this, check a specific page. You look, this is the content. You're like, oh, okay, I got my content. You get what you need in a much easier format than you would if you're watching a YouTube video. And even then, in a book-wise, the author has had time to clean up and just think and rethink the thoughts and the ideas that I've said in the book. Whereas it's different from a video where the person is now speaking and what they're saying isn't as clean as it would be if it was a book, because in the book you're selling that idea that you have, so you have to make sure that it's clean. Whereas in a video you could mention the lesson without going too deep into it. Even if you go into it, you also have to make sure that everything else is okay, from the delivery, your tone of voice, delivering the right tone, making sure that the quality of your video and audio, etc., making sure all those things are working well before even going to the content. And also now you're also addressing, if it's a serious topic, you're also addressing now the concentration span of who you're dealing or who's watching or consuming the content. So in a book, most often physical, hard copy books, when you're picking up the book, most often you're picking it up because you want to read the book. There isn't any other thing that you can say you're going to do besides it, picking up the book and reading. And that's what the book was made for. Whereas with the phone, you could be watching a video and then you get a notification. Your focus is now gone. Even if just seeing that notification, just your mind is somewhere else and focus on something else, that it's hard to get back to the content that you are focused on. So that is where I'd say nonfiction wins over the video format. On the video side though, this has been the new format that has, say, blossomed because of the technology that we have. So the technology has made it possible for me to record this video right now like many other creators have and upload it. And now that thing can be re-watched over and over by a much larger audience and much larger people. So with videos, I'd say they are much easier to get into because there are a lot more things to draw your interest from. Say if the person has presented the content properly, they've made sure that all of the things in the video are working well, and they do it in such a way that it grabs your interest. Video format also mimics talking to people, so that's perhaps another reason why it grabs people's attention, because it's like talking to another person, and you're also looking at the person's energy, what their vibe and energy is. So even if they're presenting a content type that you wouldn't even touch, because it's a person that you like, you would just stick around for their energy. So that's another thing with videos, that it's not just about the content that's in, even that is important, but it's also about the person's energy and vibe to the way that they're delivering it and how they're delivering it, and how that energy that they have is gelling with the audience that they have. So that's with videos. However, what books give you over videos is that you're able to get into the world and be part of the world in a way that you aren't able to be in videos, because you are imagining the world that you're reading in your own mind, and that's now what consumes your mind. That's what you're singularly focused about. If you're reading for hours on end and just in that reading zone, that's what consumes your mind. So while being in that world, you also see yourself a part of that world, walking through the story as it goes, walking with the characters, connecting with the characters, which in a good written book. So now, and it's different because there's a sort of, you have to read, you have to be there, you have to be reading and just focus on the book if it's a physical copy. It's possible with digital, but from my point of view, it's much easier to get into with a physical copy book because that's what you're doing in the first place. Whereas with a video or movie, if the script, the director, production team, actors, everything is on point, and they take you through that whole journey in the views, the zoom in, zoom out, the sounds, the music, all that is on point, then it is possible. However, you aren't the journey span with the character that you're in, even though it may feel like you're in there for hours, you aren't able to have as much time as you would if you were reading, as you would with a book, because with a book, you have books take longer to read than watching a video. Given all of that, books and videos have their own place. I just find that it is interesting given how you'd think with the rise of videos, books would phase out in a sense, given the mental resistance required to read, and how there's a cut of the population that just doesn't like reading, but there's also a part of the population that will read every single day, would like to read every single hour if they could. So just interesting how with the rise, videos haven't replaced books, but rather augmented and fit into that situation. And in this situation, you choose books over videos. In this other situation, you choose videos over books. But it just differs from person to person on what they like, what they do, and what they find interesting. So instead of videos becoming the replacement for what books given now, videos would be a new medium. Now it's the new modern thing that isn't what videos have turned out to be. They've just turned out to be a new thing that just helps what books are. Books still have their lovers. Videos, however, also do have their lovers. And I guess the best thing you could do is just enjoy the best of both worlds. Tap into this one, tap into that one, and how maybe the telling of the story is better in this one, the telling of the facts that are given this one, and then also take the other part now. What does this other one give you based on who you are and what you're doing in your life? And it all comes down to who you are as a person, what you prefer, and what. And that's basically given the content sphere or landscape that we're in. That's where we are. On my side, though, I am involved in both of them. I'm involved in the book, so if you like reading, I would highly urge you to check out my newsletter. The link will be in the description, where I go into a lot more philosophical things than I would in the YouTube channel, where it's a lot more thought out, much more cut, much more cleaned. I go into things that I don't have. Most of the time, I go into things I don't have time in my daily life to think about. So I think about them through the newsletter. The newsletter becomes my medium for thinking about them. But then there's also another YouTube channel where I explore other avenues and what it's like to create content. And that's now going into this 3 months of just experimentation and seeing what I'm doing with this whole YouTube channel and what it's like to create videos. So that's also a thing that I'm working on, and seeing how now, as a creator with books on the book spot, writing has helped me to just clear and understand my own personality. Not understand my own personality in a sense that I know more about it, but rather I now have the right words to explain what I'm feeling and the way I think. In the sense that, whereas before it just be if I was to describe a feeling expression that I'm thinking of, it would just be sort of ball, in a sense. So sort of what I'm picturing is like, so it's the feeling, and then the feeling is in the middle of just a ball of uncertainty of what this feeling is. But now I'm able to just go to it in a clear path, having its road to it. This is what it is, and it just continues on to the next feeling, the next expression. So it has given me an understanding, a proper wording of what this is, and that's now has opened much more doors of understanding where some parts of my expression come from, because I now have words on what this primary thing was. So that has opened doors to understand a deeper part of who I am, since now I clearly know what this thing is. I can now pinpoint that this means that, this means that, this means that. So that's what writing has opened up for me. On the video side, I'm learning the other skills that are part of it, like the social aspects. And you might, well, I'm talking to a camera, so I guess that might be a crazy way of saying social, but social support in the sense that I'm learning how to properly speak, properly say, use my words in the right format, in the right way to make people interested in what I'm saying. So basically becoming a great presenter, using YouTube to clean and cut that part, and how to say my words properly and mean, how to say my words in a way that I'm able to know what I want to say and say it properly and articulately, because there's a lot of stuttering in the background that gets cut out especially at the start when I was starting out with YouTube. A lot more cutting out, a lot more stuttering that's there. So as I'm progressing in the videos that I produce, there's a lot more, much more cleaner in the way that I articulate and much more I deliver the content that I have. Sometimes I don't even have to use the script. I just know in my mind what I'm thinking about now. I sort of also know the way to deliver it. So I'm not getting ahead of myself or stopping myself or just getting in my own way in what I'm saying. But it's much more cleaner in the way I release and saying what I'm saying. On the back end, there's also the other skills as well, from the video editing, what people enjoy, what people don't enjoy, transitions, and the visuals, the graphics, all those things. There's also a copyright element to it, because you also have to make sure people click your video and watch the video and taking that whole process and the whole step. So there's also a planning aspect to it and how I approach the videos, and that gives you a sort of a business mindset to it. Now you're planning. It's not just about, so while I am also learning the visual, the social skills of saying my words clearly, being articulate in what I'm saying, and properly making sure that what I'm saying is what I actually mean and said in the right way. I also get to look at what I've said, so I'm able to dispel the illusions that are in my mind of what I think, versus what I actually do, and then that gap now gets reduced based on the more videos that I release. And then with the podcast as well, I guess, is also, that's now actually talking to people, understanding, engaging in the small talk, engaging in what's exciting, what people exciting, how to move with the flow of the person that I'm speaking to. So that's a direct form of talking to the person. But besides that, there's also the indirect form, which is just now we're talking to the camera and making sure that everything goes according to plan and said in the right way. And then taking that video format as it is, looking at it and just adjusting. See, I could improve here, my delivery, my planning needs this, my planning needs that. And yeah, that's basically how video has helped me in the social aspect of it, and writing has helped me in the writing aspect and articulating my thoughts much more clearly and understanding the much further fringes of my mind, the faraway thoughts that I wouldn't get to think about as clearly as I am able to with the newsletter. So that's what the newsletter allows me to do. That's what I learned from writing and learned from videos. And well, I guess with books have also evolved in a sense. Books have now evolved from the modern time. They're still readers who love it, and videos are also now evolving for the modern time. So while they aren't just sitting still, they're also evolving together, influencing each other as well. Because you can use the books to supplement the video, or use the video to supplement the books. You just use them interchangeably. So while in the minds of consumer, they're just interested on what helps them move their life forward. They don't care about the competition that happens between business. So even if as a business you're a bookstore and now videos come out and now you're clashing with that, as long as what like serves the consumer's needs, that's all the consumer cares about. I guess that's just an interesting take now. So it's not about whether something is modern or whether something is not. It's about, does it serve the purpose right now for for my needs, and is that the best way that it serves my purpose? And if I have the money for it, I'm gonna go with the way that serves the best purpose, that serves my purpose as best as it can with what I have. So that's just, I guess, something interesting. And well, that's it from me, from my side, my books and videos are. Leave a comment down below on what you thought of my view on books and videos. What you prefer between the books and videos. Maybe some things I've missed, maybe some things you relate to. Subscribe, share with anyone you think would enjoy this, get an insight from it. Other than that, make sure to watch this video, Reinventing Subworks, where I go into what my 2024 would be like, what my plan for 2024 is. Besides that, that's all from me. I'll see you in the next video.